talk is by a very familiar person for very many of you, Saul Weiner. And Saul was a community and justice studies and U.S. history major, and he is now studying folklore in graduate school at Chapel Hill, and he is going to wow us in the first ever Quake Talk. So please help me welcome Saul Weiner.
Thank you so much for having me here. I'm really excited to be doing this. So I'm going to give you a little bit of background on this project that we did, Swine Country, documentary. And more specifically though, because I've talked about this before and I've shown the film and we will show the film, but I want to talk about what role Guilford played, all these institutions within Guilford played in creating this, because we had a lot of partners. This was collaborative from the very outset, so it was never an individual endeavor. So I'll tell you a little bit. This project came out of a summer research project in the summer of 2012. I was in the planning class at the Cape Fear River Basin Studies program with Maya Deary, which is in itself part of the Center for Principled Problem Solving. So I was, as a community and justice studies major, I said, okay, I want to find out what role social movements and community organizing has in the river basin. How does it connect to environmental work? So I struggled for a while and I had a lot of ideas, some a lot better than others. And eventually I just, through the miracle of the internet, as it is now, where a lot of young people find things, I started learning about the environmental justice movement in the US and specifically in North Carolina. A little bit of background on that is that the environmental justice movement is credited as starting in Warren County in 1982 in eastern North Carolina. The state dumped a lot of PCBs, which are toxic chemicals, in a predominantly black community, and certainly wasn't the first time, but it was one of the most recognized times where a community organized to say we have a human right to a safe environment, and we're going to build political power to those ends. And so that was, like I said, sort of credited as being the first step in the environmental justice movement, merging what a lot of people think of as social justice, i.e. racial, economic justice, and the environmental movement. So, like I said, we started this in summer of 2012. I got in touch with some organizations, and one of the organizations that we found, probably the only one that we really knew was in the Cape Fear River Basin, was REACH, which is the Rural Empowerment Association for Community Health. And they do a little bit of everything. It's environmental justice, it's economic development, it's teaching their young people how to turn farming into a sustainable entrepreneurial venture. And so I got in touch with them and sort of selfishly just said, can I just come down and talk to people? In 2012, when we wanted to continue this collaboration, but we wanted to make sure that we were giving something back to REACH, that it was a reciprocal relationship. It wasn't just us taking from them and taking this knowledge back to our community. So we said, what can we do with you? Not just for us or for you, but with you. And luckily, Tom Clement was on board, and we were working. He's an expert videographer, photographer. Many of y'all have seen his work. He's done stuff for Guilford, and you know how good it is. And so he got on board, and we talked to Devon Hall, who's the program manager at REACH, and he said, I think we could use some documentary stuff. We've been really trying to do something new and innovative, and it didn't hurt that we were going to do this for free for them. So he said, yeah, let's get you down here for another meeting. And so that's when I really think that the relationship, we really started building the relationship with REACH. So it really went from there, and I could talk forever about that process, and I have with a lot of you, so you know how that is. But Guilford was a partner in so many ways in this. There were a couple of institutions, and it was good because eventually I was really seeking these things out on my own and talking to people and building new relationships, and that was as valuable for when people here did that as really anything. And like I said, that sort of agency and work ethic that they instilled in me to go looking for people is something that still serves me today. So I'm eternally grateful for that, and I think that one of Guilford's strengths and one in the liberal arts is that this understanding that there is an interconnectedness between all disciplines, and therefore saying, well, even if I don't know that, I'm going to point you to the person who does, and more than likely, that person has a relationship with somebody in that discipline. So this film has been evolving over the years. We still edit it and tweak it and still use the help of people at Guilford, and now I'm at UNC Chapel Hill, and of course our partners at Reach and in Duplin County, who are as much co-producers as Tom and I are. So, and we credit them with that in the film because they really are co-producers and co-creators of this film. So, where the film's at now, we are still doing showings. We still sell it to institutions. And for example, the copy that we're about to show is an institutional copy that Guilford owns. Guilford purchased from us, and then all of those proceeds go to the work that Reach does. So we didn't spend anything out of pocket when we made it, so we didn't really have any losses to recoup. This all goes to Reach, which is a really good feeling. And so we sell copies. We have showings. Sometimes professors at institutions ask us or ask if they can show the film, and we do a fee. And then the big news is that next week I'm going to Iowa. There are 4 farmers unions in the excuse me, in the American landscape, and it's cultural geography. It's feminist and Marxist geography, and the grad students meet every Thursday after class. It's sort of an extra session, and and oftentimes I say, oh, you know what, like I was at Guilford and I was in this class, like a geology class, and I thought it was totally unrelated to community and justice studies. And then, well, okay, maybe they don't care specifically about like the Guilford stuff that I get really excited about, but they understand that these connections are everywhere. And I think I've pointed out these things that, just some connection in class that Guilford has helped me to develop. People say, oh, that's really interesting. Like, I'm surprised that you could like make a connection like that. I just thought they were so disparate. And I said, I think that's the value of a liberal arts education, that you can find a connection between geology and history and community organizing in public policy. And I really am so grateful for that. And the other thing is, I think that Guilford, in other ways too, not just in the critical thinking skills of I don't know, like the Socratic method or something, but really in writing. I have teachers, professors who say, I appreciate your writing, and it's cogent and it's critical, and I can tell that you're really thinking through things. And I can think back to specific instances at Guilford where I had professors who broke something down for me in a draft that I wrote and said, this is good, you need to develop this more, you could make this stronger if you did this, this, this. And I still retain a lot of that stuff and use it now. And in many ways, as I was saying, it kind of just feels like an extension of Guilford. It's Guilford 2.0 because it's the same passionate, engaged people, still trying to do good, always using academia for the purposes of social justice and change, and that's really inspiring. So this documentary is what I'm the proudest of doing, and as I said, it is certainly not just my own. This is the effort of a lot of people who in many ways worked more than I did in certain aspects. Like Tom was editing all night, all the time, doing all the video. People like Devon who live in Duplin County and deal with the issues of hog waste and environmental racism. I get to leave that at the end of the day, but he does not. And the people in Duplin County do not get to just pick up and leave like I can and go back to the nice safe confines of the ivory towers. So I'm really eternally grateful for the work that they do, and then also having us come in and learn from them and learn with them and make something new like this. So I see so many people here who help, so thank you so much. And I'm going to show the film, and if anybody wants to stick around afterwards and talk about it, I think there's another talk coming up, but I have, a few minutes between this and the next talk. So thank you.